Hello and welcome back to Pillar and Foundation Apologetics. My name is Sam and I'm your armchair apologist. Today we're going to delve into why this system works and why it's better than anything else out there. And probably the number one reason why this is better than anything that you've seen online is that it takes away every Protestant's superpower. Let me explain. People say that there's 10,000 Protestant denominations, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 different Protestant denominations, when the fact of the matter is that there are as many Protestant denominations as there are Protestants. They all say, oh, we go by Bible alone. But in fact, in parentheses, it's Bible alone plus their infallible personal interpretation of what the scripture actually means. Anyway, so when you give a verse to somebody, Protestant says, oh, I disagree with the Pope, Peter being the first Pope, and you come out with, well, on the road to Emmaus, Jesus says, who am I, and et cetera, et cetera. You know what the dialogue's all about. And all they have to do is say, that's not what it means. And now where are you going to go from there? They've said it. They're the Pope of their own denomination. What they say goes. So I'm going to show you how to defang that, how to make that null and void. You're not going to run into that's not what it means ever again. You're going to love this. It also avoids what I call verse slinging. You throw out a verse and they counter with their verse, and then you counter their counter with your verse, and you sling verses back and forth. To me, that's going no place really, really fast. It just, to me, it just doesn't work. So we're going to avoid that whenever possible. As a matter of fact, we're going to be using scripture very, very infrequently, and I'll tell you the reasons why later on. The other thing about this, is, and not in any particular order, is that you don't need to know absolutely everything about the Bible. You don't have to know about, what this Pope or that Pope said, different councils, what they taught. You're not going to have to know about different pieces of history and things that happened all around the Catholic Church. And another thing that's really nice about this is the fact that it's going to force you and them to listen. In most situations, you give your verse, they give their verse. They're not listening to you, you're not listening to them. And while they're talking, you're thinking about what you're going to say as a rebuttal. And it's true on both sides. This avoids all of that. There's not going to be any stress. There's not going to be any hard feelings. There's no arguing. And you're going to have absolutely every advantage of all that you're going to have every advantage go into each debate working for you. Now, why might it not work? And this is important. There's Protestants, as a whole, Protestants are like a bunch of scattered sheep, and they're each going their own way. Like I said, they go Bible alone, plus their infallible personal interpretation of what the scripture actually means. And there's two types. One Protestant has absolutely no clue that he's lost, and the other Protestant knows that he's lost, but really doesn't care. So the ones that don't care, they're of what we call bad will. And that doesn't mean that it's a lost cause. They may change their mind someplace down the road. And also, we're going to be planting seeds, and they may sprout out and bear fruit later on. You never know. Just keep trying. The second thing is what's known as cognitive dissonance. Now, what is cognitive dissonance? The short explanation is people believe what they've always believed in. and they will discount truth that you put right in front of them. They can't deny the truth, but they still won't believe it. So in other words, let's say somebody said, you know, your grandmother, she's working for the mafia. She used to be a hit woman. She used to kill people. She was an assassin. And you said, oh, my grandmother's the sweetest thing. She's got candy in her purse, and she's got a wet rag when we go to the restaurant to wipe up the kids' faces. And she's just the sweetest thing in the world. And yet, now they show you all this footage of your grandmother knocking out people 20 years ago, or whatever the case is, or drop kicking Hell's Angels people for knocking into her door in the parking lot. So you've got these facts. You really can't deny the facts, but it's your grandmother. She's sweet. She's innocent. She would never harm anyone. And yet the facts tell a different story. So that's what's called cognitive dissonance. The last thing is what's called demonic oppression. Now, before anyone jumps out and says, oh, Sam is saying Protestants are being possessed, that's not true at all. Everyone on earth has some sort of demonic oppression going on in their lives. That's Satan's big thing. He wants to bring as many people to hell as possible, and he's trying to use his influence on all of us. Now, sin clouds your judgment. It makes you stupider. Now, let's face it, the more you sin, the more closed-minded you become, and the further down that rabbit hole you go. So we've got the people that don't want to know, the willfully ignorant, or the people that would have bad will. We've got people with cognitive dissonance, and we have demonic oppression. All of these can be overcome. Some cases are a little bit harder than others, but all of them can be overcome. Now, I'm going to get into these videos later on, and we're going to address all of these things for you, and so you'll be well equipped to deal with any Protestant that happens to come your way. And in closing, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and comment, and most of all, subscribe and share these videos with your fellow Catholics. You never know that you might be able to save a soul someplace down the line. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you and come to our channel real soon. Thank you.